Ellington.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, and you don't have to have each individual explain, but you guys can explain it to me. You mentioned several third district projects on here, and at first I was happy to hear those. But then I see that some of these projects are projects that have already been incentivized for low-income housing with tax dollars. So why have they already been incentivized for development with tax dollars, meaning they had all the money to develop, had all the capacity for the medium income and all that good stuff, and then they're back on here? Because that's not increasing the affordability of people in the third, because the complexes are to receive money for the units and people. So why are they on here? And there's several.
So the board actually very intentionally was trying to make sure we were closing any gaps in low-income housing tax credit projects, because we knew those were the ones that had the most guaranteed funding, and that this would mean that this is closing the gap so that they could start and get shovel-ready immediately. So there was a priority, given that there is the time constraint on ARP dollars, to make sure that we were using these resources
so are you saying
to
the
close
projects
gaps.
that was previously funded were not adequately structured where they could be developed?
So
they had gaps in funding, meaning that it wasn't adequate for it to be developed. Is that what you're saying?
It is our expectation that every affordable housing deal that's providing 30% AMI housing will layer multiple funds of resources.
Answer the question I asked you. Because I asked a specific question for a specific reason. Are you saying that those projects was inadequately structured and they couldn't be developed, and that's why they had gaps in funding? Because we already passed specialized funding for 38th Street. Nothing's built, fence there. We just had a groundbreaking on 18th at the Jazz Hill complex. Oak Park, Ivanhoe deal is a whole nother deal that's supposed to give 30% MBI back to the community. So my question is, why isn't there any new projects in the third district that expands affordability? And the only thing that not the only thing, but a majority of the projects in the third have already been funded with no extra increase with this, because we're not increasing units.
So I would invite the housing department who did the financial analysis to speak to some of those specifics. I at first thought you were speaking to low-income housing tax credits.
I want to answer to this question. And I definitely want to answer, because some of these projects I've been having issues with, because we can't even build because the dollars is held up in inadequate projects. And then I get a list of $11 million of affordability with half of the projects in the third previously funded. And then y'all got beautiful stuff around the 6 and the rest of these districts with home buyer assistance and all this good stuff. The people of the third don't get no new projects. We get to double down on projects that can't come to complete site. If we just talk about 38th Street, they don't even own half the property.
Oh, sorry. Jennifer Tidwell from the Housing Department was standing up to speak to this question, since she was the one closest to the financial analysis, and I want to make sure you get the answers that you're looking for.
So are you specifically talking about the projects
the projects that have already been funded. Oak Park Townhomes, already funded. 18th and Vine, already funded.
So I don't think we
I can keep going, because I didn't mark all of them. Ivanhoe Oak Park, already funded. I'm not talking about the gardens.
So on the ones that are...
Jazz Hill, already funded.
So Jazz Hill wasn't selected this time?
Correct.
Or Ivanhoe either? So the ones that were selected were Crescendo Oak Park is...
Okay, go back to Oak Park Townhomes.
So
let's stay there. That's 3.8 million, right?
Yeah, so Oak Park is asking for a small amount to help get them over their gap, to get them to their gap
Now the
funding.
question is, why are we using these dollars to supplement a project that already received over $3 million of tax dollars?
So...
Are there going to be any increase in units from the original design that hasn't been developed?
So a number of these projects have suffered from the pandemic.
Can you please answer the question? Question number one.
Okay.
Is there going to be an increase in units for the project that was already funded? 38th Oak Park Townhomes. Increase in units?
No.
Okay. So why aren't there any new projects being developed with these dollars?
So there are several new projects in the 3rd District that have been selected.
Okay, better question. Why are y'all supplementing projects that have already received tax dollars?